He separates. He's to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Florida State. Warwick got on third down.
Winky looking Winky. Wants to throw the knockout punch to Warwick. Warwick open. Touchdown. He does a touchdown. He did catch it. Touchdown, Florida State. Oh, Peter Warwick. How'd you do that?
Kermit Whitfield to the left side. A hole to the 30. Kermit Whitfield to the 30. To the 20. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, end zone. Kermit Whitfield. A 100-yard touchdown.
Here's the snap. Winston rolling right. Throws the pass on the other.
It's caught. It's caught. It's caught.
For the end zone battle. Coleman. Touchdown.
We're doing it for everybody. We're doing it big all over the country, all over the world. And I'm proud. I'm proud to say I'm a Florida State Seminole.
Well, wasn't today fun, everybody? Still, day's not over yet. This is Garnet and Old. No inside info, no contacts, no problem. This is V Drive edition, which is basically just me. Unless Ryan happens to join in, there's some possibility that Parker may show up as well. But in the meantime, today is a big day. Today was not an unexpected day, but today was a big day. And National Signing Day always is. It's not the same as it used to be, back in the old days in February, where, we would all kind of sit around and we had a good idea who was going where. And, when Bobby was around, then, the closing on National Signing Day was always a very exciting day. You get some people that maybe you didn't think you were going to get. But National Signing Day is different these days in a lot of ways. Not the least of which, or one of the things that's the same, is there's always some excitement, right? So we got some excitement today, and I'm not going to belabor the point about some things that maybe didn't go the Noles way today, because you're always going to have that. We'll spend more time talking about the things that did go their way, as well as maybe some ways that the team and the staff can get better, because there are always ways to get better. And Mike Norvell will be the first one to tell you that he's not going to be stagnant, right? He's always going to find ways to get better. So let's talk about what happened today in terms of National Signing Day. And if you're watching online, welcome. And if you have some comments and you want to chime in, please do so. So day started out pretty early today, and I spent some time today on my Twitter, or on my X account, just basically reposting what the football team was posting in terms of guys signing. I just followed along with that. But we had some early signings, and the end result would be, I think, 21, maybe 22 signees today. 4 stars, mostly a couple 3 stars. And people will spend some time talking about how we didn't, quote unquote, get any 5 stars today, and we lost out on a 5-star today. Some of the guys that are 4 stars for us were 5 stars at one point, and they're very high. So the whole 5-star, 4-star thing, I get it. Everybody likes to have that. I mean, we have a rival fan base of ours down at the U that spends a lot of time banging their chest about off-season titles and off-season trophies and things like that. And so they did a good job. I mean, if there's one thing that we know, is that Mario Cristobal can recruit, and he did today. And I think they're still working on some stuff. So congratulations to them. And I've got a couple Miami fans that are friends of mine. Congratulations. That was a great class. The question is always going to be for them, though, is can they turn those great classes? They had a good class last year. Can they turn those great classes, those good classes, into wins on the field? And that's going to be the question for them. And so you can enjoy the class, and you should. But at some point you got to learn how to coach, and you got to learn how to develop these guys. So he's definitely got the talent for that. So we'll see what happens with that. Back to the Noles. There really weren't too many surprises today, if you think about it. Of the guys that signed, I mean, they're all pretty locked and loaded. Um, and the one that didn't sign today, the one that flipped, KJ Bolden, um, what can you do about that? And it's just from a Seminole fan perspective, it's um, it's still raw, right? Because Travis Hunter wasn't that long ago. And then, this happens as well. But you know what? If we're gonna win, 10 plus games a year and we're gonna lose a commitment here and there, I mean, I will take the wins on the field any day. This staff has proven for a couple years now that they can take, I don't want to say run of the mill talent. All these guys are Division 1 players, but not the elite of elite. And they've taken those players and developed them and coached them, and got them to a point where we've won 19 games in a row. Like the team hasn't lost a game in over a year. So if you're going to ask me as a Knoll, would I rather have a bunch of 5 stars? I think sure I would, and I'm not going to deny that. But if you ask me, would you rather have the 5 stars or a coaching staff that can develop and win games? You're probably gonna take that. Eventually, if you get enough elite talent, some might say that the X's and O's don't matter as much. And I don't know. I mean, there might be some truth to that. I will say that the way things are going right now, there's more talent being spread out among the top 25 teams. Where prior to this, maybe you get kind of a cluster of the elite talent among 4 or 5 teams. Now it seems like because of NIL and the ability to pretty much pay players, that talent is getting more spread out among the top 20, top 25 teams. And so X's and O's are going to continue to be also very important. So let's address some of the players that did sign today. Probably my favorite one that signed today is Cam Davis, 4-star running back. I think at one point early on he was a 5-star. I think last year at one point, but he's been committed for over 2 years now, I believe. So think about that. You're coming off your sophomore year of high school, and you're committing to a team, and you stay committed to that team, till the very end, and not a waiver, not even the slightest bit of waiver, right? So that's probably my favorite one, and it's the one probably that I'm going to look forward to the most. If you look at a picture of him, he doesn't look like a teenager. Like he looks like he's 24, 25 years old. He's and he's talented. And with the running back room that we have, we won't have to necessarily throw him to the fire right off the bat. He can learn. Most people that follow college football will tell you that you can have the elite of elite running back on your squad, but if they don't understand, blocking and things like that, it's going to be hard for them to get on the field. So he's going to have the opportunity with some guys in front of him to, ease into the role. He's one of my favorites. And hopefully that will pan out for him to be highly successful so he can continue to be a favorite. Camden Fryer, wide receiver out of, I think, Lake City area of Florida. And if you know the last name, you're right. You do know the last name. He's a legacy elite athlete. And, I think he's going to be a pain in the neck for a lot of opponents in terms of, slot receiver type. Another one of my favorites. Never wavered at all either. And of course, the quarterback. So here you go. Like it's taken me the third one for me to get to the quarterback. Luke Fromenhawk, So if you don't know how to say his name, that's how you say it. Croman Hawk, like Hawk, like the bird, Croman Hawk. He was offered several years ago as well, committed a long time ago, and never wavered. As a matter of fact, I think there was some push for him from Georgia earlier last week after they found out that their quarterback commit was going to flip and go to Nebraska. And he just basically took the phone call and said, thanks, no thanks. He's all in as well. And so those are probably my three favorites of the group there. And there's a lot more too. I just go through the names real quick for you. 4-star Cam Davis, 3-star Ricky Knight. He's a defensive back. 3-star linebacker Jaden Parrish. 3-star OOL Ty Helton. 3-star linebacker Tamir Hickman Collins. We already talked about Croman Hawk. 4-star offensive lineman Manasseh Atete or Atiti. We're going to have to learn some names pretty soon here. Camden Fryer, like I said, D.D. Holmes, who's a 4-star defensive end. Another 4-star offensive line, Jonathan Daniels. 4-star tight end, Landon Thomas, who flipped from Georgia earlier this year. He was rated a 5-star at one point. Jamari Flagg, 3-star defensive lineman. 4-star defensive back, Jamari Howard. 4-star wide receiver, B.J. Gibson. 4-star wide receiver, LaWayne McCoy. Get a list in front of me here. 4-star defensive back, Kai Bates. 4-star defensive back, Charles Lester. 4-star wide receiver, Elijah Moore. 4-star athlete, Micah Danzy. 3-star kicker, Jake Weinberg, who's considered to be the best kicker in the country. And 3-star offensive lineman, Jaden Todd. And of course, we also know, Ryan and I talked about this on Sunday. I think it was Sunday. That Marvin Jones Jr., who's a defensive end, who's an edge, transferred from Georgia, and that was finalized earlier this week. So that's a great class. That is a top 10 class. I think right now in one of the groups, it's it's a 9, it's 9 maybe, and the other one maybe it's 11. So you say, composite probably a top 10 class. We had spent a lot of time in the top 5, but when some people leave the class at the last minute, class going to drop a little bit. This is the highest. Here's another reason why I'm optimistic. This is the top-rated class that Mike Norvell has had. So if you look at his classes over the last 3 years, they pretty much have jumped 10 spots each time, right? They were like maybe in 30, and then they were 19, and now they're 9, right? And this is also a large blue chip class. So what does that mean? Blue chip athletes are considered to be 5-star or 4-star, right? So the majority of this class is 4 and 5-star. I think it's like 16 out of the 22. And if you want to know why that's important, it's because there's been a lot of data captured on the success of teams and how much higher that success is, the higher their blue chip ratio is, right? So the higher your blue chip ratio is on your roster, the greater chance there is for your team to be successful. So that's why that is important. And so let's talk about what could possibly be better, right? So I'm never going to begrudge high school kids, changing their mind. And, this is a big decision for them. And not only is it a big decision for them, for a lot of them, it's a big decision for people in their family. And, if you think about when you go to work, you've got people expecting things from you, right? And there's a lot of pressure on you at work. This department needs this from you, and this department needs this from you, and this department over here wants their thing before you help out this other department, right? And so there's competing interests on you, and you have to navigate that. And you learn how to do that, right? You learn how to play in that world so you can be successful in the job that you have, whatever those responsibilities are. These are high school kids, and these are high school kids that are the elite of the elite, and they have, you know, grown-ups basically hounding them constantly. And I'm not just talking about the schools, right? You've got coaches, of course. You've got their peers that are, you know, helping to recruit them, possibly. But they also have, you know, adults in their lives, whether they be parents, grandparents, guardians, aunts, uncles, whatever, that are, you know, also, I don't want to say necessarily putting pressure on them. Some of them might be for sure, but it's like it's almost like they they don't understand how to navigate that, right? The kids don't understand how to navigate that because they're not adults. They haven't been in this realm. So they have a hard time doing that, which is why I don't like I said, I mean, I don't fault them being wishy-washy sometimes, right? Now there are some exceptions to the rule. There are some things that go on sometimes where you can look at that and go, "Hey, man, that's some nasty." I heard this many times today. It's some nasty work going on behind the scenes. Um, but you know, you get some guys then that are committed, you know, quote unquote committed for for a real long time, and then you know at the last minute, they're no longer committed. So you know you got to understand. And I'm not an elite athlete. I didn't go through this, but I could imagine the pressure that's on them to make a decision that's, you know, life it's important for their life, but it's also because of the way NIL works now. There's a lot of money involved too. So one thing that I always hope is that these young kids have the right type of people in their corner to you know, to be able to help them navigate that. Let them make the decision they want to make, but help them navigate and be able to, you know, keep the distractions outside as much as they can. um, and I'm gonna put a comment up here real quick too. Looks like Parker's chiming in. Hey Vince, as you know, I don't really follow high school recruiting, so I don't have much expectation going into today. Good for you, Parker. I'll just stop right there and say good for you because if you've been on social media at all today, my goodness, there are a lot of grown-ups, and I use the term grown-ups in the terms of the age of the people that are absolutely losing their minds about, you know, decisions that 17 and 18-year-old kids make. But so if you don't have any expectation going in, I'll set your expectation, or I'll give you something for that, Parker, and that is that Florida State's class could be considered to be a top-notch class, top 10 class. We missed on one. We missed on one player. One player flipped at the end. And you know, for the folks out there that are saying, you know, we also lost out on Armando Blunt. Armando Blunt, he, people that follow this know that he was going to flip 2 weeks ago. So this is not a shocking thing. Like we already knew that he was not going to be in the class. So that's nonsense. Jeremiah Smith, who was a wide receiver who wasn't even in our class. So there are some Noel fans out there that are upset that we didn't get a person that wasn't in our class at all, right? So he signed with Ohio State, or at least he announced for that. I don't know if this signing has actually gone through yet, but so that would have been a great get, right? That would have been a flip to the good for us, right? For someone, and it was looking like it was possible that he was going to do that. It didn't happen. So, but Parker's second thought here is that he thinks it is important to not burn any bridges since so many kids end up in the portal. Absolutely right. Recruiting is a different deal these days than it was back in the day, where if someone signed with you or they didn't sign with you, that was pretty much it. right? So the athletes now have the opportunity to transfer if things aren't going their way, or maybe if a coach leaves or what have you. So it's important that the coaching staff maintains relationship with these kids regardless of what happens. Now, the students themselves can burn that bridge, and I would be curious. I know that Mike Norvell's not like this. He doesn't seem to be, right? I would wonder if what happened today with with KJ Bolden would be considered a bridge burn. I'm not sure that it does or not. Might be some circumstances with KJ that made more sense for him to stay in Georgia where he's from. Okay, I'll just say that. But the thing that might be a problem is the fact that, and again, I don't know if this is accurate or not, and only the coaches know this, that they did not know, like, he was solid up until the time that he said Georgia. And but then after the fact, KJ tells some reporters that that he's known for 3 weeks he was going to flip. Those are the kind of things that, you know, if you have a coaching staff that's spending time on you, investing in you, I'm not just mean money wise, I mean time wise, investing in you to show that they want you in the program, and you're going to spend all that time doing that. And then you know that you're not going to join that group, you're not going to stay with your commitment, and you've known for 3 weeks that you were not going to. That's the type of thing that can burn a bridge. I don't know if it does or if it doesn't. And I'm not sure if that even happened, but that's the word on the street. So take that as you will. But if you, I don't. That's the nasty work kind of stuff, right? That's nasty business, because you're basically leaving that staff a bit in a lurch. I don't know about that, but you're caught them off guard. The right thing to do is to let a staff know that if you've known for 3 weeks, the right thing to do is let a staff know that your mind has changed. That's the right, respectful thing to do. That's the way. If a kid is being brought up the right way, if they're being mentored the right way, if they've got the right advisors around them, that's the way those kind of things should be handled. And I know it's not always handled. So, but you're right, Parker. It's important not to burn the bridges. And I think one thing that I'm confident in is that this coaching staff has proven time and time again that they build relationships that may not necessarily pan out today for that particular kid, but in the future. Perfect example, Marvin Jones Jr. Here he is, right? He's on the team now, so that's important. That's important to know. I already mentioned a little bit about how this is Norvell's, highest graded class in his time here. It's gradually climbed, and also how it's the highest blue chip class. There is fellow Noel fans out there that may be watching this. Should you be disappointed that KJ Bolden flipped? Sure, you can be disappointed a little bit. Sure. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything. The team is, 19 wins straight, hasn't lost in over a year. And this staff has proven to recruit not only at the high school level, but also in the portal. That's the other thing to consider, right? You're going to see them attack the portal harder now than maybe they might have. So there's nothing to, so sure, be disappointed a little bit. It'd be nice. Hey, it'd be nice if one of those flips go our way at some point. I would love to see that. But don't join the nonsense online about, all the stuff you're reading. So let's talk about what the staff can do better, because I think that is something that we can talk about and not use that as a way to downplay the staff. Um, I believe that the staff needs another um, killing recruiter on staff, and I don't necessarily care what position they coach. This staff needs someone that is an ace recruiter. They need another one. They need another one. Um, and that's something that they can do better. And hopefully, like I said, Mike Norvell has, if there's one thing I know and have seen from him, and that is that he's not satisfied with staying where he's at. He wants to be better all the time. And so I'm confident that that's a focus, right? I don't think the linebacker recruiting is where it should be. And to get Blake Nicholson, last year, that's not enough, right? It's just not enough. We know that we can develop guys. I mean, look at the trajectory of Kalen DeLoach from the time he got here to the time he left. We know we can develop guys, right? But we need to have more elite bodies in that room. And that falls specifically on, Randy Shannon. If you're gonna get an elite group together, I don't know that he's the guy that can do it. And the only reason I say that is because it hasn't happened yet. And how long has he been on staff? Not very long. Or I'm sorry, several years. And to be honest, the Blake Nicholson thing really wasn't Randy Shannon as much as it was Derek Ray's ties to the West Coast. So that would be one. And the other thing that is a glaring, just year after year, is elite defensive line. Those are the two spots, right? I don't have any skill positions. We're killing it. We just are. Offensive line, I don't know if it's elite, but it's definitely, top notch, the guys that we're getting. And of course, we've all seen the development is excellent, right? And the backfield, defensive backs, we're getting elite players. So, you've got the offensive side of the ball. We're getting the right guys. We're getting top notch players, and they're being developed. On the defensive side, we're getting top-notch defensive backs. I'm not so sure we're getting what we need. I know that we're not. We're not getting what we need in terms of linebacker and defensive line. How that changes, we need an elite recruiter on the defensive side of the ball. Another one, if we already have one. I don't know if I would count. Pat Surtain at some point probably is going to be considered that. He's not been at the college level long enough maybe to call it that. But, I mean, look what he did this year. He gets another year like that, and I can think we could all sit back and say, yeah, he's an elite. He's an elite recruiter when it comes to that position group. So those are the things, and I have full confidence and faith that Mike Norvell is not going to stand for anything less than the standard. The standard is the standard. And, that's next for us. As a staff, that's next for them. They've got to break through this ceiling, this glass ceiling, and not have such a gap between other parts of the team in terms of recruiting and linebacker and defensive line. That's got to get caught up to the rest of the team. All that being said, we can all think about how great our defense was toward the last part of the season. They're the reason why we're undefeated for the last two games for sure. So even with with those gaps in our ability to recruit at those two position groups, I think we have the coaching itself in place. It's the elite recruiting part. Get that solved. Uh, there's always a continual, gradual move toward getting better every day, right, and every cycle. Any other questions? Anybody want to chime in the comments there? We got several people watching live here, and I appreciate that. It's tough to listen to me and only me. I get it. Kids have told me that for years. But if you have any questions, just throw them in, or if you want to chime in. I'd be interested to see if any of my Miami fans are watching tonight, to see how excited they are about the class that they signed. So I'll wait for a couple of those things to come in. And while I'm waiting for that, let's talk about the Orange Bowl real quick. I didn't really going to spend too much time on that, but now we can turn our eyes toward the bowl game, right? And the bowl game is going to be interesting. There are a lot of guys that aren't going to play, and it's I'm never going to count this team out because they play hard. It doesn't matter who's in and who's out. They're gonna play hard, and it's possible, never impossible. They're going to win. It's going to be much more difficult to win this game. So I'm not going to lie about that. Georgia's going to have their own guys out as well. But we'll see. If you follow Tim Brando on social media, he's a good one to follow if you're a Nole fan. He's not having any of the nonsense when it comes to the playoff, and he's also not having any of the nonsense about trying to look at this bowl game as anything other than a scrimmage. So anyway. So yeah, Raj, I got Raj here. This is my Miami buddy that constantly watches. He's a friend of the program. He's an old school. He's been around. So as much as I troll them, I'm not trolling Raj. Let's just say that. Raj, you guys had a great class today. And what I said at the beginning of the show was, it's not unheard of for Cristobal to have a recruiting class that you can be proud of. That's normal, right? That's what he does. That's his bread and butter. The question is going to be if it equates to wins on the field. So, we'll see. Having Miami be better would be better for the league, for sure. I don't care about the league, but it would be better for the league. And then Raj also chimes in and says, hope they come out hard with so many missing. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, they will. They are. It's not going to be for lack of trying. There's a lot of guys that haven't gotten a lot of snaps. Are going to play a lot in that game, and they'll be excited about it. The question is whether they're going to be good enough to win the game. And Raj, here you go. Raj is all in here. This is about Cristobal and his coaching, right? Agreed. This is his year to prove it. Yeah. So he's got the recruiting. He's got the money to back, right? So that's all good. The question now is whether got to take a knee when it's time, right? That would have been another win in the bucket. So, any other comments or questions about National Signing Day or the bowl game? Well, great. I've been trying to follow along here on Twitter to see if there's anything new happening, because it's late here. Any kind of new stuff here? Anyway, I appreciate everybody chiming in tonight. I didn't want to go too long. National Signing Day, the general consensus, just to wrap it all up, is fantastic class. Had one flip that we weren't expecting. Everything else was expected, right? So if you're getting all worked up about what happened today, just you have to understand it was just the one. It wasn't these others. They were not part of it. And I get that maybe you don't follow it maybe as close as some. So tomorrow, Ryan and I will be doing our normal Thursday night show, 7 p.m. Garnet and Old, Thursday night on the money. I will be doing it probably from St. Augustine, as family and I are going on our annual trek on the Holly Jolly Trolley. If you haven't done that in St. Augustine, I recommend you do it. The lights are beautiful. You get to sing Christmas carols at an obnoxiously loud level, and kind of yell at people on the street. So it's a lot of fun. I don't know if they can call it the Holly Jolly Trolley anymore. I think Burl Ives Foundation, his family got kind of angry about that and made them change their name to Knights of Lights. I will forever call it the Holly Jolly Trolley. But that'll be happening tomorrow. I don't think I'll be doing the show from the trolley. It depends on what time on the trolley, but that would be fun too. But 7 p.m. tomorrow. This has been Garnet and Old. No inside info, no contacts, no problem. If you don't mind, run over to YouTube, find our channel, and subscribe to it if you haven't already done so. And I know many of you have, and a lot of people are watching, thousands and thousands of people, which, I'm humbled by that. Continue to ask your friends to watch it as well. And for finally, as I always say, as we leave, I got to put this up too. Brian would be that I did. Screw ESPN eternally. Make sure I get that up there for everybody to see it. And remember, go Noles and send Chiefs all the damn time. We'll see everybody tomorrow night, 7 p.m.